Well, we've lived in this house since 2001, and it has been hot. Always hot in the summer.
And cold in the winter.
And cold in the winter. We have never, it's like a tank. It's just always hot. When we first moved into the house, I would say that we were hitting probably 350 a month.
Definitely.
But then as we added the first AC, or replaced out the existing AC and then added a new AC this last year, we hit 470, which that didn't accomplish anything, except our bills went up. Horizon Energy Systems was coming up on the front page of the Google website's response page, and then further I found that article on AZ Central on the Republic's website for Horizon and read that article. And it was interesting, probably more interesting than the article was the comments, that accompanied the article, and some of the comments were, definitely adverse to Horizon, and some were very positive, and talking about the engineering of how a house works and how an attic works in relation to the house. And that was actually kind of the trigger to call, because the fact that when the competitor came out, there wasn't much discussion at all as to how a house actually works. It was more, here's a solution that we will implement. Whereas with Horizon, and in particular the comments to the article, there was so much about the engineering, and then finally spending some time on Horizon's website where it's very intensive in the engineering, and then calling Brad and an hour-long discussion about how a house functions and how heat dissipates. Clearly it was worth a meeting to have you come out. So we're going to implement Horizon's proposal this week, consisting of a radiant barrier, of vent fans, new ductwork, or reseal the existing ductwork with additional new ductwork. And the proposal is that we are going to have an extremely comfortable home, a home that will not require AC to run 24 hours a day as it does now in the summer, a proposal that will eliminate some sewer gases, a proposal that will also allow us to lower electricity bills, but all the while having comfort that we've never had in this house. So to be perfectly honest, Brad, if we can hit 70% of that, we're going to be ecstatic. When we started this process at looking at solving the fact that the house was always hot, we called a number of companies, and we had quite a few come out, and it seemed like a packed solution, a standard solution, and I didn't feel like we were achieving what I was trying to set out to do. We called Horizon Energy, which was easily the fourth or fifth company that I called on this, and Horizon Energy representatives came out, and they were the first team to not have a packed solution. They actually looked at the house, they went up in the attic, they were able to give scientific reasons on why we want to use his company, and in particular, the discussion by Horizon regarding air as a fluid and how the fluidity of the air in your attic and how that'll work was what sealed the deal for us. So we ended up choosing Horizon Energy. So the work that we contracted with Horizon to do, and what Horizon proposed, was the installation of a thermal membrane, the installation of not one but two attic fans, German attic fans. And we had heard this proposal from other companies, but his fan was noticeably larger and much more industrial. And I was questioning that, and he said, well, you want a stronger fan because it's going to be running a lot, and you want to get the air out. So you need a stronger fan than what other companies are proposing, and that made sense to me. And then the third thing that he did is he sealed up all the ductwork. And Horizon was the only contractor to actually treat our attic as two different attics, which is legitimate because we raised the ceiling and it created two separate parts of the house. And so he individually treated the situations that we had and solve the problems that we had that way. And one of the other things is we almost delayed going with Horizon Energy because we had a sewer problem. And by that I mean we had sewer smells in the back bedroom in the third bathroom. And I casually referenced this to Horizon and saying that we needed to delay the project. And immediately the representative from Horizon said, well, I can solve that problem. You don't even know what I'm talking about. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I can solve that problem. You have negative air pressure. I didn't even know what that really meant. And what that meant was the attic was taking in more air than had been, or the HVAC was taking in more air than was actually being released back into the house, which was creating a negative air pressure. So the ratio should be at 1, and we weren't achieving 1. And so his point was that for the house to achieve 1, it was pulling through the sewer lines or through the ground the air, such that we were having sewer smells in the back bedroom. I'd had 2 or 3 plumbers, I'd had other companies come through here, and nobody gave me that explanation. And we were looking at trying to solve this problem for over a year, and we were at the point where we were going to rip into the wall to redo our plumbing lines, thinking that that was the problem. The second benefit, and why we wanted to do all this, was comfort to the house, and that has been remarkable. Before, we've owned this house now 10 years. For the last 3 or 4 years, we could not get our house during the summer below 80 degrees. The AC ran 24/7, and the house was always, if it got to 80 or 79 degrees, that was a good day, right?
It always felt hot, and with the air always being on, it always made the house very noisy, which created, now that the house is quiet, you see it created like a little bit of a fatigue and noise factor in the house that we're thrilled is gone.
Yeah, so right off the top, we noticed the sewer smell was gone. And then when we had this work done in the late winter, we noticed that the heat hardly ever came on, but the house stayed comfortable. Since now summer has rolled around, we can take our house down at night to 70, 72 degrees quite easily. It runs, the HVAC comes on, it runs for a few minutes, and then it shuts back off again, and the temperature stays very comfortable. One of the remarkable things is that before we had fans in every room. Sometimes they were ceiling fans, sometimes they were the upright fans that you buy at Walmart or Costco or something, and we would run them in every kid's bedroom. Now the kids don't want them on because they get too cold. Likewise, this past week we hit 110 or something, and I had the fans on. I had the vertical fan on next to my bed, and I had to get up 2 nights in a row to turn it off because of I woke up with a sniffle at 2 a.m. So I got up and shut the fan off. We couldn't be happier with Horizon. They set out a plan. They did the work. They did the work timely. It was probably more work than they contemplated. They kept it at the price that we agreed upon. Immediately the sewer smell was gone. Immediately the house was comfortable. And now that we've hit the hot part of the summer, exactly what was our original objective has been met. And so we now have a house that is comfortable, that is cool, and is exactly what we want from a home. After the work was done, which was in the middle of the winter, we noticed that the house stayed a nice comfortable degrees, 72, 73, what have you, and we hardly ever ran the heater. I mean, the heater never came on. And before, while it wasn't running 24/7 like it was, like the HVAC units run during the summer, they would run all the time to keep the house warm.
The house was always cold. Like we'd always be wearing fleeces and things like that.
We didn't have to do any of that. I mean, the house was just amazing when I think back to those first 2 or 3 days, how quiet the house was. It was nice. Now that we've hit the, and then we just kind of got used to it.